So realizing now the dynamics of your home and what you were raised in, and learning how maybe things that your siblings did, how has that affected you looking back?
That is a very good question. Honestly, looking back to see what they've done or that they've said, it creates a lot more clarity for me now, because I wonder, like, why are they doing the things that they're doing? But also, coming from narcissistic parents, it makes sense that we get those traits from them, but also my siblings don't think that they are like that. It's sad to see, and sad to like kind of make that realization that, oh, that sucks.
The key word that I got there when you said that is clarity. Once you get clarity and you start to see, then things can change. It is hard though when it's, what do you do when it's a sibling or a parent, when you are under the same roof, or as an adult, you're now going to family events? What do you do with that? It is hard to figure out. That's what we're hoping to answer, or at least give some hope or some clarity. That is the word. The word for the day is clarity.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kara.
And I'm Anjali.
And we are your hosts for Truth Be Twisted podcast.
How's our week been?
Our week's been good.
Good. That's so good here.
My swearing has mellowed out a little bit.
What's been great about your week? What's been good? Going on in your life?
What has been great about my week? It's just been a very peaceful, pretty calm. It's been busy, but good.
Good.
So it's just, my home feels great and safe and peaceful, and it's been just a good fun week. So what about you?
It's been another long week.
You were sick.
Oh, I know. That was not fun. Still don't know where that was from, but being sick was not fun. But it passed really fast. But playing pickleball, definitely, it was too much. Next day, we're like, okay, that was a big mistake. But we got sick, and then I played pickleball, so that was really fun. But we just thought it was food poisoning. It felt like it.
Yeah.
And we're fine. But then we just overdid it because we didn't eat.
Yeah. But here we are.
But we're fine. We're great. We're happy. We're lives. Yeah, we're good.
We are good.
Yeah.
And thank you to everybody who has been watching us and the messages. Oh, wow. Just the support and people reaching out. It makes me super happy for this, and to have a voice. We live so long with no voice, and I am in a place where I'm not going to be quiet anymore. I'm not going to be rude. I'll tell truth. So if people are going to be offended because of the lies, then quit telling lies.
Yeah.
It's literally that simple. If you don't tell a lie, I will not counter it with the truth. And my truth will consist of documents, titles, recordings. Truth is truth.
Sometimes the truth hurts.
It does.
It only hurts those who lie, so.
It does. So we have had so much love and so much support. And those that listen that are offended, thanks for the view.
Yeah.
Like, share, and subscribe.
And also, like, you don't have to listen, but I mean, it means a lot, so I appreciate it. That's really nice. So today for our 4th episode, isn't it crazy?
How cool.
That's crazy. It's been 1 month.
It's been a month. We got a lot to say.
Yeah, we do. That's crazy. But yeah, so today for our 4th episode, our topic today is going to be called When It Is Your Own Flesh and Blood.
So today we're going to talk about how narcissism shows up in the family and the different roles and how that affects the family unit.
And then we're also going to be talking about building boundaries with family and why it's so hard to walk away from family narcissists. And then the last part we will talk about is low to no contact and the effects of what that does with your family. So yeah, we'll dive right in.
So every family and every dynamic family setting is different.
Yes.
Do you believe that it is taught Do you believe it's environment? Do you believe that a family could have a sibling or a parent that shows stronger narcissistic traits, and it's literally just them? It's not necessarily coming from the parents down. What do you think?
I think yes to all of it.
Yes, and yes.
Like definitely, it obviously depends on the environment that I think the parents create, but it's also no parent's perfect. Of course, no, they don't know. Maybe they don't know what they're doing, but also for that, maybe say that one sibling. I don't know. I just feel like it can kind of feed off each other sometimes without anyone knowing. So kind of oblivious.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. I had heard somewhere, and I may have already said this, a narcissist can be formed by extreme parenting as either direction. So this might be a good way to be able to look at somebody and to decide if you're able to work with them or not and progress with them or not. So extreme either way. So they are either like severely abused and severely neglected and severely guilted, like that severity, or they are placed so high on a pedestal that they are never taught that the world does not revolve around them, and they aren't taught how to help themselves or help others. So I think it's those extreme. We're all in the mess in the middle.
Yeah.
And we can clean up messes. But I wonder if maybe the extremes, either super bad abuse or over the top praise and put on a pedestal, maybe that's where it creates those types of people.
Yeah. I think the word extreme is definitely helpful.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Because narcissists are very extreme with everything that they do. So yeah. That makes sense. So yes.
Yeah. And perspective plays a part in all of it also.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a handful of children literally being raised by the same parents, under the same roof, in the same atmosphere, and you may end up with 5 different opinions of what went on in that house.
Yeah.
And I don't know what feeds into that. I don't know what makes it okay for somebody and not okay for somebody else, or where their perspective and their memory becomes so skewed based off of the others. And that's always a good thing I think to be able to look at too, is to be able to go, okay, there were 4 of us, 5 of us under the same roof. What do I know? What is my truth? And what is the truth? And if the majority are going, no, we've got good parents. No, we were raised good. We were raised this way, but you've got the one going, are passing off. Yeah, that might be something to think about.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like having conversations with my sister after we both moved out, where she would have a very different perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was completely different from mine.
Yeah.
So it's just, but also it's how we're both being treated, because we were both treated very differently.
Yes. Okay. And that kind of goes into different family members and their role.
Yeah.
Because you might have the one that's always to blame for everything for whatever reason, the one that's, at the top of the food chain, the one that's at the bottom of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's different roles. Family dynamics are so tricky.
Mm-hmm. So for the first role, we'll talk about parents. Top of the food chain. Yeah, top of the food chain. Top of the family tree.
Yep.
So when I was doing research about family narcissists and stuff, a word popped up that I've never heard, and it's called enmeshment. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying that right. Yes, enmeshment.
Spell it.
ENMESHMENT.
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 Big word.
That is a big word. I've never heard it before.
I haven't either.
I was trying to figure out what that word meant, and it's basically a narcissist. Their actions, I guess. So let's say having no boundaries, not liking boundaries, control, avoiding conflict, manipulating, all of those go and play with that. And so I honestly, in my family, it started my parents doing that. So, and kind of trying to dissect everything, that's where I was, my parents had the, I think it's now, enmeshment, breaking it down, but like, looking back, like, boundary, privacy. I remember my mom would read my sister's journals, which, to be fair, my mom and my sister had a very intense relationship. And so, yes, my sister didn't write good things about my mom. And so, yes, my mom wanted to know, but also just didn't come out right time, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's my mom, like, reading her journal. And that's a hard one because, I mean, it's just a weird situation. But it's pushing privacy and the boundaries right there. Oh, another one is that they don't praise. We've talked about this before in the past, but they don't give praise to people. So looking back for me, I mean, since my other siblings were like the disappointments, I had to be the golden child, which is another thing that they do in enmeshment, is that they create someone has to be the golden child.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I felt a lot of pressure from, living up to parental expectations. So being the golden felt like I had to live up to those expectations. Yeah. Without receiving praise. When I did receive praise, it was when we were in front of other people or like around my dad's friends. He would kind of like brag about me, and I thought, wow, like he does care, he does love me. Like
it's a crumb.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take it.
Like, oh, he is impressed and proud of me, and he's so proud that he like wants to brag about me to his friends. Like, oh, but I thought it did.
No, especially when all of a sudden behind the scenes, it's stop crying, stop feeling, don't do this, don't do that. You're needy or whatever, whatever's going on. Yeah, those contradict.
Yeah.
What's going on behind the scenes should be consistent with what's going on in public and vice versa.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think narcissists are too coward to do it, or they just don't care? Or, I mean, are they just so above everyone else that they do?
Yes, and yes. Again, we got lots of yeses today. I don't think they care.
Yeah.
I don't think they care. I don't think they can handle the conflict.
Sure.
I don't
handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. They can't handle it. And I don't think they care. I know they feed off of hurting you.
Yeah.
So they create the chaos and they create the self-doubt because for whatever reasons, and their sick brains, that feeds them. That makes them feel powerful. And if they are having a conversation where both sides are being vulnerable and coming to a compromise, they're no longer more. It's not a competition. We are all here to love and work together, but I don't think they see it that way.
Especially as a parent to your child, you're not trying to tear them down or put them, I don't know, way low before you. I don't know. It's just you are trying to help them grow and become the best person they can be. So getting all that in my childhood was rough.
Yeah. And that's hard because parents, my opinion, I may be way wrong, but I was raised this way. Us siblings were raised this way. They would teach us and tell us and talk to us about things, and then they would let us make our choices.
Yeah. That's how it should be.
And they weren't micromanaging and in the middle of everything. And there were consequences. Yeah. I mean, when we made the wrong choice, yes, there's always consequences, but they were also there never to say, told you so. Oh my gosh, you're so dumb. Why did you? Why don't you just listen to me?
Yeah.
I'm the one. I know what's best. No, we're here to teach them and give them what we have. I tell my kids, I will give you all the information that I know and I have. Delete what doesn't work for you. Yeah. No harm, no foul. Take what works for you and continue on. And when you need help, let me know. My parents were never bombarding they weren't in the middle of my stuff. They waited until I asked for advice. Yeah. And then my dad would always say, do you want my advice? And if I said no, he wouldn't give it because it wasn't his world. It was my world. He's just there. No. Oh, heavens no. And he was just there, him and my mom both, to just teach us what they knew. They weren't perfect parents. Nobody is, but they gave us the tools that they had, trusted that we were smart enough, and was there to help when needed. That's what we need to do as a parent.
Yeah.
I'm not there to serve. We are there to serve. I am not there to take care of their emotional needs to where I'm not taking care of myself. We don't suck all the energy and the love and the life out of our children.
No.
That's not their job. That's not our job as children.
Another thing that came up to my mind with the manipulation and the guilt tripping that narcissists do, but for me, my narcissistic parents did, was also like the trap questions. Those are bad.
Baiting.
Yeah.
Bait.
Yep. I remember, let's see, I think it was right before I met Zach. Yeah. And things weren't going great, as we already talked about. But my dad and my mom, we were all talking in our kitchen, and my dad asked me, he said, "Hey, tell me what is wrong with us. Like, what is so bad about our parenting?" And I've never told him that. I've never told him what was wrong or what I was like having issues with, because I was scared to, and I never felt like I could actually say, like, "Hey, this is actually really hard for me. Can you guys try doing this way?" You know, I just never knew.
Yeah.
And I was too scared to do it anyway. So I remember I was shaking so much.
Because your body is screaming, "Stop!"
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't know. So I was like, oh, maybe like this is actually my chance to tell them. So
they want to know how I really feel.
Yes. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to say it. And
oh dear.
I was going back and forth in that moment. In a few seconds, like, do I not say it? Do I say it? I don't know. I just see my dad's like vein popping out of his head, like waiting for me to answer. You know, my mom's got her arm folded, just staring at me, kind of glaring. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be brave. And so I remember I said, okay, you guys are very controlling. And instantly my dad blew up. It was just yelling like, "Oh, you think we're controlling? Okay." And just, it was so bad. And it made me regret what I said. But also it's like, well, that's the truth. And you asked for the truth.
You asked for it.
So why are you mad that that's the truth? You know?
Yep. I have said many times, not my parents, but it's like, if you don't want to know, don't ask. Because that is a trap. They will. Were they valuing your opinion? Were they going to consider your feelings?
Oh, no.
Or are they just looking for a blow up to feed off of it?
Yeah. It's funny because I think, honestly, I've had those my whole life. I just didn't know it. And so then jumping into my marriage with Zach, I definitely had trap questions for him, and I didn't know it. And once again, he called me out, and I'm so grateful. We said, "Babe, we're not doing it. A trap." I'm like, no, that's not. I don't know.
I love his blunt honesty. That's a trap.
That's not the best. That's why we are so well each other, and that's what we need, which is great. But yeah, he called me out, and I'm so grateful. But like, it's just, I have these tendencies because of them, because that's how I was trained and programmed, whatever.
Yeah.
And so then bringing those into my marriage was, it just one after another. But yeah, don't ask trap questions.
Don't. If you don't want to know the truth, don't ask.
Yeah.
And be aware.
You know your intentions. And I knew my intention asking that questions like that.
Yeah.
And I guess I did know it was a trap. But I guess I didn't know it was such an awful thing to do because I had my whole life. I don't know. And no one called.
It was just normal.
Yeah, it was normal. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So I knew what I was trying to get out of him.
Yeah.
And
we become conditioned and it becomes your new normal.
Yeah.
So why would you do or be different? Because when you're stuck in the middle of it, it's just what it is. Doesn't everybody
right.
do this? Isn't that how everybody communicates?
Yes.
It's okay to do it. Actually, it's not. But you don't know until you start realizing, either by talking to other people, researching, whatever you're doing, to go, oh, wow, not normal.
And having those hard conversations, especially when it comes to marriage, like with your spouse, for Zach to be able to call me out, there honestly were times where I was like, nuh-uh, I'm definitely right here and stuff. But I mean, realize my mistakes around too. So it's another hard narcissistic thing, but that's how, you know, you're doing good if you can call yourself out on those things. So
yes, you're doing great.
Thanks. We're trying.
So you mentioned another side effect of enmeshment is people pleasing. And two more things I forget.
Insecurity, difficulty with independence, no sense of self-worth.
Yes, because they take all of it.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting about the people pleasing because I feel like I definitely used to be a people pleaser. I mean, still am sometimes, but I just feel like there's a lot of people pleasing out there, and it's hard because none of us people pleasers want to be like that.
No, but there's a fine line between we want to be aware of other people. Otherwise, we're a narcissist. We want to help others. We want people to feel good.
Yeah.
I want people to feel good when I leave instead of going, holy crap, thank heaven she left. Right?
Yeah.
But I think boundaries come into play there, so you can please people without destroying yourself or without losing yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that fine line is.
I think you be respectful, and it's okay to say no, but also you can't allow other people to walk all over you.
Is it saying no because, or is it when you say yes, but you want to say no?
Yeah.
That's the difference. So
Definitely.
being able to say, no, thanks though, but that doesn't work for me. Or, no, thank you, not today. Instead of saying yes and then regretting and dreading doing it. So that's a boundary. That would be a good boundary.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, like for me, my parents, as to why with the enmeshment, people pleasing came up with that. So I'm trying to figure out, like, did they make me do things and I just felt like they controlled me to do things?
You're trained. You are trained that way. So if you have an opinion and they don't like your opinion, so now you are either chewed out, called names, given the silent treatment, talked about to the other siblings.
Yeah.
You learn to not give an opinion. So in order to have them be nice to you and for you to please them, you don't say X, Y, and Z, or you only say A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And you're trained. You are trained from early on, and they will use the other siblings.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
To help enforce that. And they're going to use you to help enforce it with those siblings.
And also happen. There's the triangulation. There's the family dynamic. I'm trying to figure out where this one falls under, which I thought, I guess, control. I don't know. We'll see if you can break it down. So like I said, I was a very social butterfly. I loved hanging out with my friends and stuff. And so I remember I was at home a lot because I worked. I worked 2 jobs, and then I just wanted my friends. They told me at one point that I could only do one weekend night to go hang out with my friends and stuff. I was just like, hey, that sucks. That's annoying. So I'd either do Friday or Saturday, and then the other night they would want me to be home and to do stuff with them. And so I'd stay home with them, and my mom would be on her iPad in the living room or in the bedroom with my dad, and my dad would be on his iPad. So they just would both be in their own worlds, on their iPads, not doing anything, and I had to be in that.
So they just want you home, but they don't necessarily want to spend quality time with you.
Yes.
So if you're home and under their control, then you're not out having fun without them.
Yeah.
Because fun has to revolve around them. You're not out doing what you want to do. You're at home doing what they want to do, which is nothing. You're not possibly going to talk to somebody that might make you aware of what's going on.
True.
Because if they can isolate you and keep you to where you are only valuing their opinion, only hearing their things, only do what they want to do, then you'll never, I say wake up lightly, but you'll never wake up and figure out what they're doing and leave.
It's true. And narcissists are so hypocritical.
Yeah.
Because my parents just say, oh, you're always on your phone. And then they're on their iPads. Like, what's the difference? Okay. Yeah. Everyone would say Pinterest is different, and I was not on my phone. Like, yes, I was a teenager on my phone. I like to talk with my friends. Yes. But also, I'm not sitting at home doing nothing, just on my device. And I was sitting there. Yeah, I'd rather be outside with my friends, so.
It's a do as I say, not as I do.
Yes. And like, when I would drive with my mom, she'd pull her phone sometimes and like look on her phone while driving. And it was so hard. I was like, "Ma, you're texting. What the heck?" And then she was completely crazy about me, which I understand. Phones are driving. I was not. I mean, as teenagers, of course, it was hard to follow those. But still, I was like, what the heck?
As I say,
And I couldn't say anything.
I have seen people who swerve at other people driving for being on their phones. And then you turn right around and they're on their phone driving. It's like, they're above the law.
Yes.
Those laws are for all you tiny little dumb people.
Mm-hmm.
But they're okay to do it because they know best. They always know best. Yeah. So funny. Do as I say, not as I do. That is a good thing to watch for.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in family dynamics, when you're at family parties or whatever. I think it's a tool to be able to step back and just observe.
Definitely.
And just listen. Don't get caught up in the conversations too, especially if you kind of have an idea of what you're working with. Just listen and watch, and you'll learn a lot.
Yeah.
You'll learn a lot just by observing.
Yeah, for sure. So the next couple of things I want to talk about with the parents, at least for me, is the emotional neglect and then the conditional love. It's so hard to wrap my head around with the conditional love, because I've been having a hard time saying that, because usually everyone says unconditional, and I'm just so used to saying unconditional.
Well, it's supposed to be unconditional.
Yeah. So then having conditional love with my parents was super hard. I mean, obviously, because I didn't do what they wanted me to do. And same thing with my siblings. I mean, they went down their paths, yes. And then they had falling outs with my parents. But now, to this day, my siblings are doing what my parents want to do. They're saying what they want to hear and all that fun stuff. And so now they're all great and dandy. And there's that conditional love. It's kind of like, my dad will kind of say this sometimes. It feels like about getting good grades, or I don't know. Something that's probably the most applicable to me, but how like parents would be like holding like a fishing rod and like, or not parents, I guess like there's a carrot and there's like a rabbit, where, you know, like you pull up and down stuff. Yeah, kind of like that. Anyway, but that's kind of what, and like I've kind of turned it back on them, but like that's kind of what they're doing with my siblings. Yeah, like, oh, you're telling me what I want to hear. Okay, great. Here's this.
So rewarded.
Yeah, there's
what they want, whether it's right or wrong. And punished for what they want, whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
So there is no separation between the parent and the child. The children becomes an extension of the parent. I picture the little puppeteer with the little people on the strings.
Yeah.
Right? Making them perform and do. And as long as you perform and do, there's harmony in the home.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But heaven forbid you marry somebody they don't like, or have a friend they don't like, or go somewhere that they don't like, even though those people and places and things might be great, grand things. It wasn't their idea.
Yes, exactly.
So now you're the heathen and the mad child.
Yeah. Scrapped out the golden child. Now other siblings can fill that role.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So let's talk about the scapegoat, the golden child, and the one that was ignored. Can you see those different roles with you and your siblings?
Yes, definitely. So us kids, as I already said, I was the golden child, felt the pressure, needed to live up to that. My sister was the scapegoat. So there was so much tension with her and my mom all the time, and I think it's just a rough dynamic between them, but they constantly fought for my dad's attention and validation. So there's just that constant battle there. And then the ignored one, neglected child, the ignored one, was my brother.
Oh,
so my brother.
Who was he ignored by? So is this like both parents, or more one than the other? You've said though they were kind of like good cop, bad cop. So I think they may have fed off of each other.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. So sometimes I was the first child, I was in the middle. So it was more so, since my mom and my sister hated each other, then my mom kind of favored my brother and me. And then my dad felt bad for my sister, so he kind of favored my sister. And he wasn't too fond of my brother, and my mom wasn't fond of my sister. So it was really toxic, because then I was stuck in the middle being for both of them, and also being the snitch too. So my dad and my sister, and then my mom and my brother, and then me.
And then you. So you were in charge of keeping everybody happy, and the whole dynamic just as peaceful as possible.
Yeah, something like that.
Or the snitch, like you said.
Mhm.
You're the one, the go-between for everybody. That's a lot.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was a lot. Looking back to, I'm like, holy crap, that was a lot. And like,
Yeah.
it just makes more sense though now, because yeah, my sister, the scapegoat, they get blamed, they get gaslit, and now that happened to my sister, she definitely had her part, which they fed off each other, and it was just bad overall. But she definitely was a scapegoat. And we already know I was a golden child, and my brother was definitely the ignored one. He, like, they didn't really care. I mean, yes, they cared, but also, like, he tended to get away with a lot more things. He brought vaping into our house. He brought pornography into our house. And yes, my parents didn't appreciate that. They didn't allow that type of stuff, but it still happened. It's got worse, I'd say. But I remember a couple of times. I remember the first time I was pretty young. I was probably like 8 or 9. But just me and my brother at home, and I wanted to play the Wii or something like that. And he was in our guest room, and the guest room door was closed. And I just like opened the door, just go see what he was doing. So I wanted to play the Wii with him, and he was watching pornography, and I was terrified. And so I ran up the stairs, and he chased me after. And it was scary.
It is scary.
And I locked the bathroom door, and he's banging on the door like, "Don't tell mom or dad. Don't call mom or dad." And I was too scared to tell my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And so I didn't tell my mom until I was like a teenager, I think, about that one. And then I told her, and honestly, it was traumatic for me.
That is.
Like, gross, and that's disgusting. And also, like, I was a little sister, so it was weird. And then when I told my mom when I was a teenager, it just felt like she brushed it off and like didn't care. She's like, "Oh, whatever." Like, "Oh dear, he did that," you know. So that was weird for me. Like,
so they just brush it under the rug,
yes.
Which they are very good at doing that, because if you don't brush it under the rug, then you have to do something about it.
Avoiding the conflict.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, obviously, it was such a big problem. And I remember my parents saying, like, "Oh, to my brother, like, "Oh, we don't trust you being home with your sisters. Like, we don't trust you even during the night. Like, what you're going to do and stuff."
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, if it got to that point, then why did you leave me?
If you're afraid of it, don't leave me home alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Help me set some boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or you set some rules. Yeah. Help me.
Exactly.
Wow.
I did not remember this happened until literally a few months ago. Wasn't even on my mind. Like, it just popped. Zach and I were going to bed, and it just popped in my brain. And I was, oh my gosh, I forgot this happened. But I want to say it probably wasn't that long after. Probably after that encounter I had with him. So I think I was around 9. But we were home alone again. Like, what the heck? We were home alone again. And gosh, I had no idea what was going on. And I just was so innocent, I guess. I don't know. Naive, I guess.
You were 9.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember my brother, he told me, like, we're fine to do this because we're not blood siblings. We're not really there. And remembering what happened was so traumatic, and I didn't know how to handle that. And even now, still, I'm trying to work through that, but
I'm taking deep breaths for you.
I know, I'm holding back right now. Oh. But yeah, but remembering that, and I just was shocked that even happened. But also, I remember that I was really mad at my parents for even letting something like that be able to happen.
So you feel betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
You're not safe. You're not safe with him. You're not safe with them. There's a lot of emotions there that, as a 9-year-old, what did you do with that?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, they just ignored all this.
They ignored it, and they ignored those red flags.
Yes, exactly. And,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, one of our old my friends. I think she was in between me and my brother. We have a big age gap, but they liked each other for a little bit, and they came over to our house for Christmas one time, and he assaulted her.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do your parents know Did you ever tell your parents? I'm guessing not if you just remembered.
No.
With you. Did they know about the girl?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so...
She told her parents they're pissed. It was a huge thing.
So, who was pissed? Your parents were pissed?
Her parents?
Her parents.
Mm-hmm.
And how did your parents react to that?
I honestly don't remember. I feel like me and my sister just got bumpy in our room or started another rag. But I just know, like, if I even were to tell my parents what happened, they wouldn't believe me. My mom would say, oh, well, if that really happened, you would have just told us. But I just...
Which is why you didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry.
Oh.
That is horrible. That is so hard. You didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it is such an unsafe atmosphere. And you learn early on, you don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not safe to. You're not protected, you're not valued, you're not heard, you're not safe. There's a lot of things you're not. And so you just bury it. And then I think the hope is eventually when you do realize it and it does come out, that you are surrounded by people who can help talk you through it and help you have that conversation with that 9-year-old. I know that sounds weird, but it's a real thing. To be able to look back and to sort through it and sort through those emotions to where you're okay.
Yeah.
Makes me super sad.
Yeah.
Can you hear it in my voice?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to cry. Sorry. That's hard.
Yeah. Okay.
It happened, but you know people that can help you through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. Okay.
Yeah. I think another thing that kind of made me also not feel like I could talk about things was, so my parents were paramedics, and of course kids can be dramatic sometimes, and I agree, like, not everything needs, you don't need to go to the doctor for everything, but I think also a lot of the time when I was feeling this way or this way, then they say, oh, you're fine, like, stop. Mm-hmm. You're fine, stop being a baby and stuff. And so even now it's affected me, like when I have thing going on, I don't know, it's hard for me to ask for help. That's the hard one.
I should apologize. I'm pretty sure I've said that to my kids. Sorry, Zach. And all my other children. But I'm not there now. Oh dear. It was me. Dang it. But that leaves a mark on children. So knowing that, you'll show up different for your kids. Mm-hmm. And you'll show up different just for people in general.
Yeah.
When we are under super stress, and I don't know what was going on in your parents' marriage or in their worlds or in their past, what they were raised with. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
What we do know is what we get to do with it, right? Mm-hmm. And if you at any point can look back and go, well, kind of like with things that come up with you and Zach, to look back and go, oh wow, I did do that. Oopsie.
Yeah.
I'm going to change this. That says a lot. It's the times where you can look back over always, even to current day, and the dynamics are still the same. Mm-hmm. That's when it's like, okay, I need to set better boundaries. I need to not be around this as much, whatever it is you need to do, because you can see.
Yeah.
And you can see your part and change it. That's what we want to be able to do. But if you're with somebody that cannot see their part and will not change it, that's it for story.
Yeah. So what about when people don't see other people's part? Recently, a little bit ago, I was talking to my sister, and I got a little frustrated because she was still talking to my brother because he just asked for money all the time and just doesn't pay her back, whatever. That's their deal, whatever. And I was just getting frustrated. I told her that I remembered something that our brother did to me that was really traumatic, and I don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. I just don't know what. And she just brushed it off. She's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it.
So that tells you super quick that you don't talk about it with her. Mm-hmm. We surround ourselves with people that are safe, mm-hmm. that can love us where we're at and want to progress with us. Mm-hmm. And that's all relationships. So the second you say something and you realize they don't care to hear, care to know, then that's when you stop sharing information with them. Mm-hmm. Because everything you say at that point will be used against you.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I stop at.
Yep.
It hurts because
It does
I
hurt.
just thought, how are you still talking to him after you know, I mean, all the things he's done, but especially just to tell you what he did and you still just don't care.
We all learn in different ways.
Yeah.
And we don't know how she is perceived growing up. And so for whatever reason, she's not quite there yet to be able to even know she can set boundaries or to even know. Sometimes they're just not ready to hear it or to go there.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the best thing is to just kind of go noted, and you'll learn really quick. I have different levels to my circle of people. And I know who's super close, and I know who's maybe a little farther out. I know I can share these deep, dark, sometimes dark, sometimes not as dark. I can be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I can laugh out loud, and it's okay. I can do all of these things. They're super close to me. These people I still love, but you may not get quite the depth. These people, yeah, you know what? I love you, I respect you. These people, I love you because Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
And I have my different, and you learn where to put different people based on how they show up for you. We should be doing that with everybody. People should be doing that with us. If I'm not safe, put me at an arm's length away.
Yeah.
Please. Show me, teach me, and let me know why I'm there. So is your sister's not, she's not where she's at.
Yeah.
You can still love her, just maybe at a distance.
Yeah. Definitely.
It is super hard to walk away. Narcissists, especially when they're family. Why do you think so?
Their parents, they raised me. I still call them mom and dad, so of course it's getting hard. But also, other side to it is that the things that they say and like the guilt trippy, which, as bad as this sounds, it makes it easier to walk away. But like my parents would use this one like, oh, after everything we've done for you, like we saved you, because they adopted me, and they say like, we saved you and this is how you treat us.
You owe us.
Yes, you owe us. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I ever said it, but I was like, I did not choose to be adopted, so you could have left me in the trash. I would have died. I would have died, but whatever.
Oh. We're working on that. No.
But like the guilt tripping, like, yeah, we did this, blah, blah, blah. So I know another one that was kind of easier for me to step back and set those boundaries is when my mom would say, I'm her grandma, referring to Carson, and basically that she has every right to be involved in our lives because she's her grandma. And now I'm the big like, nope, that's not gonna work.
So many thoughts. We're taught families, right? Families supposed to be safe. Families are supposed to be fun and good, which they are.
Mm-hmm.
So when the family isn't the place where you go to be loved and accepted as you are, it's hard to separate those two. I learned a long time ago, without sounding super harsh, and it's going to sound so harsh, so we'll just clean it up later. I don't care who you are. If you are damaging people, and if you are cutting them apart and tearing them down and feeding off of their pain, I don't care if you're a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, a spouse, a friend. You don't get access, because that is wrong. Period. Just because you're family does not mean you get the right to abuse.
Yep, 100% agree.
So it is hard, yes. If you choose to sit in it, you're going to have a really long, hard life. It becomes easier to get out when you know and see and feel that nobody gets to treat you that way, and nobody has access to you in the way that they get to destroy you. Nobody.
Yeah.
That's not what we're put here for. And we are put here with worth. Every one of us are put here. We come from an eternal source that is unconditional, that loves us where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
No human has the right to take that. I had gotten a tattoo Yes, I have a tattoo.
We have a few.
We have a few. And it was pre-COVID. So it was probably 2017, 2018 maybe. And it's a Buddha symbol. I know the yes, love Buddha. I love them all. There's great in all of it. And it basically means I came here with worth. I am leaving with that worth.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And I was tired of feeling like garbage and being told I was garbage by people who were supposed to love me.
Yeah.
So it's in a place where nobody sees it. And I see it every day as I get ready. And it was a good reminder to me of that eternal truth.
So cool. I mean, I knew you had that tattoo. I just didn't know what it meant. But it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. So we have to do the things, whatever we can do to remind us every single day that you deserve to be treated well.
Yeah.
And you deserve to set boundaries. And you don't have to continue to live in or be a part of a dynamic that is supposed to be safe that isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. They're going to guilt you. They're going to shame you for walking away. They're going to blame it all on you. Okay. Let them.
Yeah.
It says more about them.
It definitely does. I feel like that's definitely kind of what I have gone through. Because I mean, now to this day, that like you said, they're all good and dandy. My siblings have always said this whole time, like, oh, we just want our family to be back together, perfect family again. We just want everyone all together, happy, just ignore what happened in the past and just cover everything up. Yeah, ignore. Like,
it's in the past. It's been 20 years.
Yeah, get over it.
Get over it. And it's like,
we need to be one bigger family again. So anyway. But knowing that like they're all together and stuff, and then it just like, oh, they just want me to be the bad guy because, oh, you left the family, you're so disloyal, you're so blah, blah, blah. And it's just, it's just annoying and it's hard because that's your family. Why would your family be saying that about you?
It is your family. And the less we react, and I think there's a difference between reacting and telling truth.
Yes.
Right? I don't think, as people are saying things, if you can show truth, and sometimes that's just by living and being happy, living and being you, it all gets sorted out.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually everybody sees truth.
Mm-hmm.
They can see your world and they can see the other world and start to see what was really going on. And that's what they are afraid of.
Yeah.
Is because as you pull away and stop feeding them and buying into their stories and their lies and their opinions, you're going to squeal. You're going to start talking, and oh dear, people are going to know, and people are going to know.
Mm-hmm.
Truth always comes out.
Yeah.
And their world falls apart as the lies are being exposed. They're being exposed. Heaven forbid people are talking.
Yeah.
Right? Oh dear, start a podcast. Let's talk.
I know.
It's truth.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't want the truth to come out, then they should probably not be doing those things behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because eventually people become aware and they talk.
Mm-hmm. I think the other side is that they just only tell you that. They just remind you of all the good things. So then you kind of forget the bad things. So then they only focus on the good things. So it's just the gaslighting again. But they say, oh, but remember this was so good. We did all this. I'm like, yes, there are good and bad times. Yes. And it's important to remember the good, but it's also important to remember the bad because you have to do that for yourself.
Yeah. Or they'll do something. Let's say you have a conversation, when you were feeling baited into the conversation with your dad. And I don't know if he did this, but this is a common thing that they do. So they'll bait you. You answer thinking, you're safe to answer here. It blows up. And then 2 or 3 days later, it's like, hey, I bought some drinks for you. They're in the fridge. Or they just kind of come in gently, kind of test your boundaries, seeing if you're still upset, see if you can say anything. And then before you know it, it's like casual conversation. So how's your day, honey? Oh, how was school?
So fake.
Is any of this ringing true? And then before you know it, it's all of a sudden you are forgetting the bad and remembering the good, which we should remember the good.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to see them both for what they are.
Yeah. So my dad, after that, he just would have like passive aggressive comments. We talked about how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, since I'm too controlling, type stuff. And then just like,
nerve.
yeah.
Oh,
And just ignore me
yeah.
for like days.
You got punished.
Yeah.
Punished. And then they'll gently come back in, but you never have the conversation for closure. Our brains are wired for closure. I listened to a thing this morning, and it was talking about the reasons why the damage is so severe in these types of relationships. Because as humans, we want closure. We want to fix things.
Yeah.
We need the connection. We need to be heard and valued. We need to come to a conclusion. There is no conclusion with them. So our brains are constantly searching and looking and trying to find, what could I have done different? What could I have said different? What did they mean? What did I mean? And we are searching for a conclusion. There is no conclusion. So now we're in total chaos and brain fog, and our systems are out of whack, and our vagus nerve is off, and we're in fight or flight because we're searching for a conclusion that will never, ever come.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you stay in the family dynamics, and I'm not saying it's always you need to cut them off, it's learning how to find your worth, set the boundaries, hold your ground. Don't feed them with reactions. Control your emotions. There are so many things that you can do and still be in a family.
Yeah.
So, or in a marriage or whatever, in a workplace.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to learn to what to say and what not to say.
Yeah.
When to say it. And you can stay in those types of relationships, but if you choose to distance yourself and get out and find your worth, then you're just on a better path to finding your purpose and what you're going to do.
I mean, coming from you, which I have done that, I can truly say that I have, I guess, recovered my sense of worth. I don't know. It definitely was hard, obviously. It was not easy. I talk like it's easy and then I joke about it, but it's hard. But ultimately, that was the best thing for me. And I'm grateful that I had the strength to do that, and knowing that I needed to do that to be where I am right now. So,
yeah, especially where you and your family, you can see where the majority are in that unhealthy cycle, and you can kind of see the ringleaders.
Definitely.
Because there are some families where there's just maybe a parent or, a sibling, or where the majority are. And at that point, you're not going to want to cut off the whole family.
No.
For one person. They may want that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they want. But at that point, you get to make the choice to go, okay, can I deal with this one person?
Mm-hmm.
These are my triggers. This is how they get under my skin. These are things that I have observed and learned. What can I do going into this situation with them? Can I can prepare myself before I show up at a family event.
Yeah.
I can, deep breaths. I can make sure I am balanced, make sure that I am connected. And before I respond when something is said, take a breath.
Definitely.
And then decide if you want to respond.
Yeah.
The best things with them is no response, which they're going to twist and say, you're the narcissist because you're ignoring me and gaslighting. Okay. That's an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be my opinion, but that's an opinion because I know inside of me why I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I'm holding with power.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to choose. If it's something you can deal with, you were kind of outnumbered.
Yeah.
You do what you have to do. And if at any point they can find their own truth and step up and show up and have those hard conversations with you, it might be different.
Mm-hmm.
It might be different.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm thinking back about throughout all this, even when I did have it well blocked, how many people knew about the situation, and they would say like, "Oh, just don't worry, it just needs time. Over time, they'll make up their minds. They'll regret all this, whatever." And it just was so. I know this isn't fair to say, but I was just really annoyed with how many people told me like, "Oh, they'll come around," just because narcissists don't change.
They'll come around to do what? They'll come around and wiggle their way slightly back in, gradually, slowly. You learned that when you were having Carson, when you realized, oh, she had no intention of making things right with Zach.
Right.
So you've learned.
Yeah.
I know. If they were to show up and they were different, I know that I would know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
And I haven't seen it yet. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but you'll know if it's different, and it would be the conversation. I don't know that conversation. Like, never had it.
I honestly don't know that either, because I just, as sad as it sounds, I'm not anticipating it ever. And I think another thing is I had to be okay with that. Like,
yeah,
with walking away, I had to commit to that decision. I can't keep going back and forth.
You did for a long time, which was fair. It's hard to cut it off. It was painful for you.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm better for it.
You are. I don't know that it's you just don't cut them off and then walk away happily.
Yeah.
If you did that one, we would be questioning you.
Yes.
You know, you block them and then it's like, I love them maybe, right? It's a process. It's a process of sorting through the damage and the thoughts and finding your truths.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And then pushing boundaries and you reestablishing those boundaries to the point to where you finally say, this is my boundary.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Period.
And I feel like boundaries are hard for people just in general, especially with people pleasing. But now talking about boundaries with family, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That's like, it's a lot. So yeah.
It is. And family is definitely harder. I think narcissists are the same regardless, whether it's family, husbands, wives, workplace, neighbors, teachers, whatever. They are the same. And us having worth and setting boundaries of what we will put up with and what we won't are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So little kinks in it, right? Little different things that we kind of have to maneuver around. But at the end of the day, you need to hold your ground, know your worth, and no means no, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to fight about it.
Yeah.
You can have your opinion, and that's great. We all get our opinions. It doesn't mean your opinion of me is my opinion of me. That's a big one to learn. And to value the people that do show up for you and hold space, and make space for them by getting rid of the people who could care less.
Yeah, definitely.
You're doing good.
Thanks. It's hard. It took a lot of time. It is confusing creating boundaries with my own parents, because I thought I would never. I mean, obviously, having babies is different, but like with this kind of situation, I just thought I would never have to create boundaries with my own parents.
They never taught you to create boundaries because they don't want you to have boundaries. I've seen people out there in the parent role where it's like we were saying earlier, there is no separation of where the parent is and where the child begins. And they feel like they have the right to just show up whenever. That's lack of respect and privacy. That they just assume they can call and they'll drop whatever they're doing to do whatever it is that they need. I mean, it's just, there's such a lack of respect across the board towards other people, their time, and their privacy, because you're just there to serve them, period. And if it's not important to them, it's not important. If they want to do something and you have other plans, oh, heck yeah, you should cancel those plans, because it's not, if they don't see the value in it, there is no value, which isn't true. We all have value, and the things we do all have value. Do it my way or the highway.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like I heard that word for word coming from my dad. Oh, but yeah.
How do you feel? What are your thoughts on deleting texts and blocking?
The best thing ever. I recommend everyone to do that if they are trying to create those boundaries and trying to step back, to delete text and block. That is a huge game changer, because when you're sitting in that guilt that they are trying to put on you and make you feel like you're a problem, and then I don't know, you just kind of reevaluate yourself to see, wait, I need to see what's going on, and then reading back those texts, it just hurts. It feels like a punch every single time you read those words, like, oh my gosh, why am I do this to myself?
So fun fact, our brains, they don't know the difference when you have a thought between the past or the future. So our vagus nerve, let's talk vagus nerve for 2 seconds. So your vagus nerve is the main nerve that runs through your body that will send off signals when it senses danger. So you are in fight or flight. So you're in danger, your digestion shuts down. I don't know what keeps going. Your heart, basically enough to help you run and get out of there. And it sends out signals to other places that shut down because you don't need them to run. Okay. So when you are having a thought of the past, your body goes, I'm in danger. Your vagus nerve, you are now in fight or flight. Or when you're having a conversation of the future that hasn't even happened, it goes, present moment, we're in danger. Get the crap out of here.
That is so true.
So by rereading, your body thinks it's in danger and you are in fight or flight. When you are in fight or flight, you do not heal. You can't heal. That's how our bodies are made to go in and out of fight or flight. So Brad uses an example of a deer. So you see a deer, it's, grazing in the meadow, whatever, drinking by the water, and do bears eat deers? Here comes a mountain lion. I don't know if a bear eats a deer. Here comes a mountain lion. That deer is out of there, right? Its vagus nerve goes, danger. It starts shutting things down and off it goes to get away from the mountain lion. 5 minutes later, it escapes and the mountain lion is gone and the deer goes back calmly grazing. So the vagus nerve resets and it's safe. We don't do that. Our bodies get stuck in fight or flight, and because we're reliving, rethinking, overthinking, thinking of the future of things that haven't happened, conversations, we are stuck in this cycle of fight or flight, and there is no way you're going to start looking at your thoughts or how your body feels or what to do with it. You're not going to sit down and do yoga or meditate or write pages when you're being chased by a bear. You're not going to do it. You're not. You are trying to escape. So if you can learn to control your thoughts, for one, not reread, not go back over things, whatever you can do to get out of those thought loops, and teach your vagus nerve to switch to where you're in a rest and digest state, then you can begin to heal. And there are lots of things you can, a guy calls it toning your vagus nerve. And you can do it by like chanting or singing. Bree says, sing Disney songs, singing, gargling, I had heard. You can, like, that physically helps your vagus nerve. I've seen things where you'll like look, have your face straight ahead and like look at 2 o'clock. It makes my eyes hurt, so I don't do it very often. And you look to the right at 2 o'clock with just your eyes for like a minute or until you yawn. We'll see if you do it.
My eyes hurt. Moods get done.
I could be. And then you look to the left, same thing. That can help reset your vagus nerve.
Cool.
Meditating, praying, walking in the grass, just something to calm down your nervous system. Then you can start to heal. But deleting those texts and get rid of the temptation.
Yeah.
To relive something that is not serving you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know how bad this sounds, but
Just say it.
If there's a toxic relationship and you're not talking to them, why do you not have them blocked?
Block.
It just all mean lots to me.
All day long.
Yeah.
Because have you ever noticed that once you have blocked them, now when your phone dings, you're not going,
yeah,
is it them?
The anxiety. I remember when I did have my mom unlocked still, I had a text her like here and there. I would silent the conversation so I wouldn't know when she texted because I would get too anxious to see what she would say.
Yeah.
So then it would just pop up out of the blue that I would kind of see it. But I feel like I have to be doing that. If I'm that anxious, just block me down, block them. So the other great thing with the blocking is that you don't give them the room to come back with nice texts like, oh, how are you? Oh, I hope you're great. My mom would do that. When I had her unblocked, I wouldn't talk to her. She'd say, oh, hope you're doing good.
It's simple. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Hope you're good. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're sucked right back into it.
Just like the previous thing you said, like, oh, there's drinks in the fridge.
Yeah. Have one.
Yeah. I'm here for you.
Have you ever ate at this restaurant before? Have you ever? It's those simple things, and we want resolution. We want to be loved.
Yeah.
Especially by our parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's like, oh, well, she's being nice.
Yeah, like,
oh, it's okay.
She does care. I remember going back and I wouldn't respond. I just stopped responding and I just swipe up and there's just a bunch of texts like, oh, hope you're doing good. Like, Merry Christmas, whatever. Happy birthday, we love you. And I just stopped responding. But at that point, I'm like, if I'm not responding, I should just block them because then I won't see them. And if they really have something to say to me, they know where I am.
And it took you a long time to block him. It was like you just blocked and then walked away going, singing a happy tune, right?
No, I unblocked. I don't even know how many times. That's how many times I unblocked her. I just don't coming to you. I remember saying, Karen, I can't do it. I had to because I feel bad. I feel like a bad daughter. And then just that cycle. So basically what we're saying is block them.
Save yourself.
Yeah.
Save your sanity. If they were, we all have bad days. We all have bad reactions. That's not what we're saying. But if it is consistently the same pattern of, hey, I love you. Whoa, wait, you suck. Yeah, JK, I love you. No, wait, you might need to block them.
Yeah.
Because it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Ride. And you've got to do what you need to do to keep yourself in a healthy state. Otherwise, you are no good to anybody. Mm-hmm. When you are on a roller coaster ride, sucked into that unhealthy family dynamic or relationship, you're not showing up in your other relationships the best that you can.
Yeah, Zach needs me, Carson needs me, our dog needs me.
Yes, and you are beautiful and amazing. And that needs to be out there instead of being sad and stuck and depressed because of somebody that is not healthy enough to show up themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had to write it down so I don't fumble through this. I usually don't write things down. We just see what comes out of my face. Let's see if I can read my writing because I didn't want to fumble it. I heard this today on just like a short, quick reel, and I actually sent it to a friend of mine. I'm just going to read it and then we'll see your thoughts.
Okay.
So I didn't do it word for word on their thing. I just kind of simplified it. So it says, so we are told, and you hear people say, kill them with kindness, but pure confidence is the ultimate comeback. Science has proven no contact is just the start. They feed off self-doubt and chaos. Don't fight with the narcissist. Evolve beyond them. become truly unbothered, and by affirming your own worth daily. I'm going to cry. Oh, wow. That's weird. Don't know. Setting boundaries without guilt, and stop reacting and stop feeding them. Grow emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. No contact is powerful. Silent confidence is unmatched.
Well, 1,000% agree to
Also, we want to be kind, but the best thing you can do is find your worth and rebuild that confidence. Know when to fight and know when to walk away. Know what to say and know when to hold your peace.
Yeah.
Know what information to give and what not information to give. I was thinking the other day about, I had a cute friend that messaged me and we were just talking back and forth. And so I thought, okay, when I like zone people or when I get talking to people, what were the first steps I took? I am so far from being there, but I feel different than I did. And so step 1 actually has 4 parts. The 4th part came today when I was out doing my thing. I'm like, oh, wow. So step 1, part A, B, C, and D, and they're not in any particular order. The first thing to do, and we have talked about this, is you have to become aware of your thoughts. What's going on up there? And learning to stop them. So as they come in and you realize, I'm in a conversation that I had with this person 2 weeks ago, to just stop them. And when I was doing it, that was all I did. And I did that for probably over a year. And I thought I was losing my crap. Wow, for the stuff in my head. I thought, I am crazy. Well, they're right. I am crazy. If you don't see the stuff up there. And there were times I could not get it to stop. I literally would have to say my name out loud. And I'd be going, stop, stop, flip a rubber band, stop. And I literally would go, Karen, wow, stop. Okay. Practice just stopping the thoughts. That right there does a lot of things. If you're able to add in what you stop it to think of something that you are super grateful for, something that will raise your vibration, whatever that is, person, place, thing. Sometimes we'll make triggers. Have we done with you? Mm-hmm. It was that where you could think of something quick and you have a current day positive, happy thought. Gratitude and love vibrate up here. Negativity, resentment, narcissists, sorry, dwell down here. We don't want to be down here with them. We get stuck in the loops. So if we can stop our thoughts and replace it with a positive thought, it is hard to find those positive thoughts when you have lived in that negative for so long.
Yeah.
Sit down in the morning or every day, or write down some things you're grateful for so you can come up with something quick, something that's going to raise your energy. That is helpful. And learn ways to tone and reset your vagus nerve, whatever that looks like. And some of these you can do all in one, like sitting or session or one time, right? I'm catching my thought, I'm raising my vibration. Or when you're out walking, pay attention to the thoughts and try to just observe them as they go past. They're coming. They say we have like 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, and like 80, I'm going to follow the numbers, and we'll say like 80 or 85% are repetitive and like 95% are negative. So they're in there. Stop them, change the vibration, change your energy, work on toning your vagus nerve, and find your higher power source, God, universe, whatever that is for you, because that energy is unconditional love. That energy is acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
That energy is something that we are born with, and that is where we want to return to, and you are never alone. And once you realize that, then it's easier to get rid of the people that aren't helping you grow, and it makes space for those people who want to learn and want to grow and can encourage you. You now make space for them, and your world will fill up with different people just naturally. As you raise your vibration or watching your thoughts, these people are either going to grow with you and step up and go, oh, wow, whew, okay, I don't want to lose you. I am so sorry, and let's work on this together. Or they're going to go, yeah, no, you got to come down with me. And then there's going to be a tug in there. But eventually, they'll either join you or that connection will break. And it just naturally happens. So.
Okay, well, that concludes our episode 4, and we're so grateful for everyone who's listened this far, and we're grateful for all of our supporters and listeners. You can find us on Spotify and YouTube. We have social media, just Instagram and TikTok as well. Next week will be exciting. So our 5th episode will be our Q&A. Yeah, and then we also will do a second part, or I guess for that half, and we'll do different types of narcissists.
I'm Karen.
And I'm Anjali.
The truth may be twisted,
but it's always worth unwrapping.
Thanks for joining us.